Hey y'all. I am Brittany, also known as Be Right Breeze, and I am here with my beautiful, amazing, lovely sister. She is in New York City. Please, everyone, say hello to my sister, Genia Wright.
Hi, everybody. I'm Janaya. So excited.
And you can find her on all social media at the only Genia Wright. So,
I mean, there are
also,
others out there, but I'm the only one that matters. So,
listen,
the only.
that's really what we need to get down to.
Sure. Just in terms of the facts. Just in terms of the
Also,
facts.
also, she is AKA free time aficionado. Okay, everything free time is my sister.
That's right.
Okay,
That's right.
so you guys, I'm so excited. We know that season 4 of Insecure has started, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Is Insecure, not season 4 though, but season 1.
Okay, so we're a little late with this recording. Just a few years, and I'm not
Just
going to
a
lie to you.
few
I'm not
years.
going to lie to you. I'm also late to the show. I've been meaning to watch Insecure, and I've been dedicated to it like spiritually, but practically speaking, I had not actually watched it
Mm,
in any
num
consistent manner.
insecure.
But you know what?
Yeah, yeah.
2020, turning over a new leaf, I'm going to be dedicated in an authentic way to this show. And so
Yes.
now's the time to get caught up. So if you're like me,
Yes.
if you're like me and
Mm,
you're late, this
mm,
is for
mm.
you.
Yes.
This is for
And if
you.
you're someone like me who has been closely watching Insecure, who was part of the conversations of Team Issa, Team Laurence, and things like that, this is for you as well. Because sometimes it's nice to look back to see how characters have evolved. So that's the true heart behind what we're going to be doing for season
Mm-hmm.
1,
Mm-hmm.
2, and 3 is that we're going to be doing recaps slash reviews of each character. And then, but when we get into our season 4 videos, that is where we're going to go episode by episode. And because you've been with us for all 3 of those season recaps, we'll be able to jump in and bounce back and do some connections and see how characters have evolved or how they have regressed. So excited to have this discussion. So let's jump
Mm-hmm.
right in.
Let's do it.
So let's start off with our girl, Issa D,
Mm-hmm.
played by, we all know, Issa Rae. Can
Yes.
we pretty much say the mogul Issa Rae? Like, I really feel
She's
like
so
that
good.
is, yes. I
So
feel like
good.
that is a necessary title.
Totally. And even when she was on YouTube with Awkward Black
Mhm.
Girl and her other shows, I just
Yes.
have always felt like we were kindred spirits. I'm an awkward
Okay.
black girl. I've been awkward for years. I've been awkward for years. You
Here,
know?
hither and thither. You've been awkward hither and thither, to
Yeah,
and
I
fro.
have. Yeah, I have. I really
Yeah,
have.
yeah,
So to
yeah.
see someone like Issa Rae just get it done, she is a mogul and she's an inspiration. And
Yeah.
I love her. And I love her. And she's
Yes.
doing the damn thing. And this show is
Yes.
on HBO. Hello. Okay?
Yes. Let us discuss.
HBO.
Started from here. Now we're here. Okay.
And actually, Brittany, you randomly rapping is really quite relevant. It's relevant because
It's
it's one of the wonderful features of this character on this show, Issa D.
yes.
Britt, tell us more about Issa D and the foundation of this show. Kick us off
So
here.
Issa is just a young lady from Inglewood originally, and she is working at a nonprofit called We Got Y'all. Shout out to anyone that works with the youth. You're an amazing person. The youths with an S, they're hard to deal with.
Yeah.
So just a moment of silence for
Tricky.
people. Yes, a moment of silence for people who work with the youths.
Yeah, it's really tricky. They could probably use a
It's
moment of
a hard
silence
situation.
because kids are noisy.
They're
So
noisy.
smelly.
And so you get a chance.
They're
It
really
starts
messy.
off, yes, they're messy. They touch things.
Yeah, they're all
They
over the place.
notice
Tons,
everything.
tons of energy. So
It's so
yeah.
much, and we love them.
Hmm.
Um, But yes, so she is working at a nonprofit that the goal is to work up with young people in disadvantaged neighborhoods. So basically, young Black and Brown children. But the crazy thing about this organization she's working for is that the majority of her colleagues and the person that is the CEO founder of We Got Y'all is a white woman.
And you know what?
So,
And I love that. And that's actually less crazy and more accurate. I actually work in the
mhm,
nonprofit sector, and we know that the variety, that the majority of nonprofit organizations that are serving low income communities and communities of color are staffed, especially at the leadership level. We have
yes,
all of, there's a majority of white people in leadership. And so that disconnect between
yes.
staff and community that they illustrate in the show,
Oof,
it is real. It is very real for
so
many,
real.
many nonprofits and for people of color that are working in those nonprofit
Mm,
organizations to also feel that disconnect, that tension, that being connected to community but not feeling connected to your colleagues. It's very real.
yes,
It's very well, and
yes,
they do a great
and
job of I think
yes,
showing that.
and they do, and they show so much of Issa battling between, even if it's something small, where they do ask her, what's on fleek? And she, and she, she chooses, she's having this internal narration that you get a chance to hear that's like, I'm not going to tell them what that means. And but on the outside, she says, I don't know what that means. But on the inside, she's like, I know exactly what it means. So you
Right, because
you,
it's
you
because
get a
it's
chance to see that.
it's like that challenge of like being the voice of all, being the token,
Yes.
and they do a great job of showing that, of rounding out that work experience for her, of just watching her trying to champion what she
Yeah.
knows to be best for the community, and her colleagues not always immediately getting it, even with the best of intentions,
Exactly.
even with the
Yes.
very best of intentions. And now, in many cases, she is able to bring the team around to programming that will
Hmm.
resonate and have high impact, but it's not always successful. Is what you can kind of pick up, and I love that they kind of show that in her workspace.
Yes.
It's
They
real.
do, and how nuanced it is.
Yeah, yeah.
How nuanced it is, and then how so many young people we take for granted some of the
Mm-hmm.
things and experiences they have not had. So I
Yeah,
do appreciate, although much of it is comical, um, Insecure and its writers, they do such a great job
yeah.
of still giving you information.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a nod to what Spike Lee might do in one of his movies, Message. Okay, like you catch it,
Yeah.
what we're trying to show you. So I definitely appreciate that. A little more
Yeah.
about Issa. Her character is dating Laurence. They have been together for 5 years. From what we can gather from through conversation and character building, is that they've been together since college. I believe they went to Georgetown, if I'm not mistaken. And so they've been in a relationship for some time. They're living together, but you're getting an opportunity to see that we're meeting them in a place where they plateaued. They don't hang out much. It is hard. And the actual show starts off, the very first episode, it is Issa's 29th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the way the show starts out. And her boyfriend essentially has forgotten. So you're getting a look into what her relationship is looking like. Anything you want to add to that, Janaya, at all?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think her relationship with Lawrence, it's wonderful in so many ways. I
Hmm.
think that there
Hmm.
are a lot of relationship tropes they could have leaned into here, but
Yeah.
instead they opted for a very complex beginning. This is a relationship that started off when they were very young. They've had a long experience of being quite dedicated to each other, having some foundational experiences together.
Hmm. Hmm.
And we see Laurence as someone who has academically been very successful and
Yes.
also has a very entrepreneurial spirit. And so he has these wonderful visions, this business planning that's just been going on forever and ever. that he's been working on. And it's complex because on one level, you're like, yeah, Issa, hold that man down while he's getting his business plan together.
He's trying to get it
He's getting
together.
it together.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's like, my goodness, he's not contributing currently. And so what do we do about
In the
that?
here and now.
Yeah, with
The
that
here
push
and
and
now.
pull,
Here and now.
which is where we live. We live in the here and now. So that's the push, that's the pendulum pull. And I appreciate them showing that nuance. I also appreciate that the Laurence character is a loving, dedicated man to her. You know, I thought that was lovely to see. You know, and I think people, and Brittany, you were talking about there was like a team Laurence. I mean, Laurence is like, to me, he is the dream for many people. You know, you would hope for a chance to take somebody like Laurence for granted.
Yeah, absolutely. But a lot of times we get some of his friends who we'll get into a little later. them some folks, okay?
Yeah,
those are some people.
Yeah.
But just to continue a little bit more about Issa's character, she is best friends with Molly, which we will get into more later. But that is another nuanced relationship, which I just feel like Insecure sat down and just said, listen, we're about to get real. We're about to do a head nod back to television shows like Girlfriends and Living Single, where we are getting into real Black women's relationships and real Black issues and what it looks like. But here now in the present. And so that is a nuanced relationship as well. But about Issa, you see her at this crossroads of feeling stuck in her relationship, feeling stuck in her employment, wanting to do more, but not really knowing which way to go. But then having on the other side, which we can get into now, her friend Molly. Molly is played by Yvonne Orji, extremely successful, and her character in the show is extremely successful lawyer. She is doing well. They make a nod to that. Molly has that Nolly, okay?
Yeah, well, she's knowledgeable.
That's who she
knowledgeable. She's knowledgeable.
Thank you. So you gotta do that. So they make a nod to how her character does something that many people, many Black people have had to really become really great at, which is code switching. You know, being able to be in your law office and be the expectation of whatever that is, but also be able to play dominoes and everybody still love you. You know how to be everything for everyone at that moment. But the beauty about Molly is that even in the code switching, she beautifully still finds herself in these moments where she's the same in every scenario. However, she knows how to say, so she might say to Issa Rae's character, you know, use the B word or something like that to correct her. But at work, she of course wouldn't use anything like that. She will correct and go, well, I don't believe that is supposed to be something that's happening like that. Still have the same swag, still have the same attitude, but she's getting across in a different way. So I do appreciate one of those things, that part about her character. Please, now, expound on some things that you're loving about Molly and more about her character.
Yeah, I feel like she is so many of the women that I have in my life. I mean, she's me. She's my girlfriend. You know, she's definitely that person that as Brittany said, has professionally accomplished a lot and has had to get to this complicated definition of authenticity. To be able to own that when you're with your girlfriends, that is your authentic you. But when you're at work, that person is also authentically you. And to be able to get to that level of comfort is very challenging. And Molly is there. And the part that is so hard in the workplace is watching other people of color that haven't yet worked that out, you know. And there's a storyline in season 1 where Molly actually, there is a young woman of color that comes into the office, and she has been leaning into bringing her, outside of work self into the office. And for her, it's been a source of pride. She's been able to say, listen, I'm accomplished academically. I've made my way to this internship, being exactly who I am outside. And I choose not to code, and I keep it, and I choose not to code switch. And so she's around the office being how we are when we're sitting out, at the on the couch, at the barbecue.
At the barbecue.
And Molly and everyone who's watching it, all of us were cringing, like, oh, little girl. The character's name is Rashida. The actress, Gail Bean. She kills the role. She kills it.
So good. She's
so good. And you're watching it and you're like cringing.
Right quick, that every person that they have in this show is beautiful.
Excellent.
I've just every person is just okay. I just have to put that out there. Melanin, it's popping.
Oh, it's popping in the best possible way. And so you watch Molly kind of grapple with, again, it's that tokenism again, and it's her colleagues wanting her to kind of, coach that young woman of color into, what the office etiquette is, and Molly having to decide whether or not she's going to do that. And the other thing I loved about Molly is the complexity of her work relationship with one of her colleagues. And Britt, you and I talked about this colleague, one of her professional colleagues that actually is having a lot of success romantically. You want to talk a little bit about her?
Oh man, let me tell you, you are
jumping into Molly's dating life.
Molly's dating life can echo many women. But I want to be very specific and say it is Black women that she is representing in this role. So her colleague is I would say she's Asian American, if that's a way to place that. And she is actually dating a Black man. And so while Molly is on one side having failed dating relationship after failed dating relationship with Black men, her colleague who's been dating this man and hasn't been very long, one day just shows up engaged. And for Molly, it's like, it's a conversation she even has with Issa. And Issa makes the comment like, oh man, they wiped them up quick. Mm-hmm. It's a real dialogue that we as Black women do have. Not to say that we give up on our Black men and wanting to be with them, but it is a reality that we do have to have those conversations sometimes with our girlfriends, just about what that feels like and what that looks like. And so here you have Molly, someone accomplished. She has all the degrees. She has her really nice car. She has a great apartment that is downtown where, there's someone that is to open the door for you. She's just accomplished and she's great. She's down to earth. She cooks. She does even the traditional things that one would say would catch a man, and she's running into these situations and circumstances where these men may not be on her level that would be financially or education wise. But then also Molly is seeing that she's realizing she's a little more picky than she actually thought she was. So enter in a really great guy. Before that, we do have, him, yes, okay. Enter in a really great guy that she does meet one evening when she's out with Issa. His name is Jared. Really great guy, very nice, makes her laugh. Their physical chemistry is like on point, but she starts to kind of doubt the situation a little when she realizes he's never been to college. But it's okay, let's keep going, move on, don't want to dismiss that. But then she learns a little bit more about him and his history in terms of a homosexual experience that he had with a man. And so for her, that completely just made everything not okay. And this guy that she has been having some of the best loving of her life, they can laugh, they can hang out. She's now in a situation where he's no longer enough. And she no longer wants to be with him. So she gets back out on the dating scene because she finally gets an opportunity to be in part of a dating app for individuals who have high salaries, and it is called the League. So, Janai, please tell us more about the League
Oh,
and
it's
those
real.
different things.
Yeah. You know, as we're watching Molly have this experience of being able to now engage with men that check all of the boxes.
Yes.
And what we're watching Molly discover, that so many of us discover over time, is that you cannot approach dating as scientifically as you approach other things in life. And so we
Mm.
watch Molly kind of looking at a guy. His name is Jared. He's played by this actor Langston Kernan. So good.
So good.
So
He's
good.
so good.
He's just so good. And and he's over on one side and he doesn't check all the boxes, but they have a great connection. And then she's meeting these guys that do check the boxes and the connections are not there. And she
Yep.
finds herself going through the motions with them, and she finds them going through the motions with her, dating her as a favor instead of being authentic. And
Yes.
so what you're watching Molly kind of discover through season one is that she has to revisit her approach to dating and connectivity as it relates to criteria, as it relates to the way that she presents herself,
Yes.
and as it relates to the way that she goes about meeting people. And
Yes.
so that's where we see her at the end of season one. We see her single and uncommitted, but still on the search.
Still on the search,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is a good time to insert Lawrence's friends who who go, which we can go from one end of the spectrum where you're meeting gentlemen in the League, six figures, college educated, to these men may have been to college, but their views of dating and life are quite different. Laurence has a group of about 3 friends that we have met. And these individuals, their names are Chad. I think was it Brandon and Mike. Chad, Brandon, and Mike. Chad is Lawrence's closer friend, which he gets some advice from. It's that one friend that you see their life and it's not really what you want to mimic.
Mm-hmm.
However, they will freely give you advice on what to do with your life. There's a scene in particular where all 4 of them are at the strip club and they're having this conversation. And the conversation is a little bit similar to Chad. He says, they don't make women like they used to. And all the guys are like, exactly. And Chad continues and saying, my granddad, he cheated on my grandma, had a whole nother family down the road, and she stayed. She stayed with him until he died. And all the guys are like, right, exactly. Like they're all echoing that these women are not willing to basically put up with whatever we give them.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting, this show is so nuanced that you're getting a chance to see these things at different levels. And
Mm-hmm.
you're getting a chance to see women in different spaces at different levels.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
we
in
have
all
each
cases,
in all cases.
you also get to see the disconnect between messaging and behavior. And
Yes.
so in some cases, the guy who is like the most like anti-relationship is then the one that's then engaged. Right. And so you're also
Yes.
getting a chance
That's
to
Chad.
and this is why conversations between men and women are so important,
They're so
because
important.
we have to get over ourselves and frankly get beyond the hype, and we have to
Yes.
own the part of girlfriend chit chat that is hype, and the part of girlfriend chit chat that is real. And so we get
That's
to watch
real.
all of that play out in the girlfriends, and we get to watch it play out in the guy dynamic, which I appreciate. A lot of shows
Yes.
will just pick 1 or 2 or 3 characters and go deep, but we've had an opportunity to get a pretty well-rounded view of many of the side characters, which I appreciate. I appreciate that we're getting to dig in a little bit to some of these side characters, because
Yeah.
it not only helps you to better understand the main characters, it helps you to put the show in a better context. It all feels so much more real. It feels so much more real.
It does, because your group of friends is not all the same person.
Right.
And my hope is that it wouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
My hope is that it would be a diverse group of friends, that you're not operating in groupthink. Now, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying that you're friends with someone that's just so far off from your morals or your standards that, you're calling them your best friend, but you two have this your lives. You don't have anything in common. I'm not encouraging that. But what I am saying is that you do have to have someone that looks at dating differently. My
Mm-hmm.
sister and I, and then we're a great example of being individuals who were raised in the same household, same parents, and our views of dating oftentimes clash. But you need
Quite a
that,
bit.
because
Quite a bit, folks. They clash. Quite a bit.
I win. I win. I don't.
She
I don't
doesn't.
ever. I don't win. I don't
She
win.
doesn't.
And so,
But it's a great example of like how
yes,
your experiences, you are the culmination of your experiences.
yes,
And so it's like Britt and I are sitting down, chit-chatting, dissecting something that has occurred, completely different perspectives,
so different.
And so it's like being able to take the feedback, but then do what you got to do. Make your judgment
Yes,
call. Take in the
make good.
feedback and
That's
then make
it.
your judgment call. It's so
And know
good.
that it's an opinion.
It's an opinion.
No, it's an opinion.
And it's so interesting. And this, so Laurence, we watch him engage with his friends as he and Issa are starting to have some challenges. And when we
Yes.
say starting to have, this is clearly something that's been bubbling up for Issa for a while. For a while, she has been feeling, I think, like the relationship is not progressing. She does not doubt Laurence's love. She does not doubt his fidelity. What she doubts is their ability to be a couple that can make progress together.
Yeah.
And so as she starts to question that and wonder what, she starts to feel like she's flailing a little bit and he's flailing. And so are they just together, just like going into just a downward, spiral or worse than downward, just stagnant,
Yeah.
and so she then is starting to so then Laurence is feeling that tension. He's feeling that tension and he's watching it play out in his relationship, and she acts out in different ways. She acts out by frankly, when he disappoints her on her birthday, she goes out without him. She also starts making little cutting, digging comments.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's one thing you never want to do in a loving
Ever.
relationship, and this is romantic or otherwise, it's just those little cutting comments. And we're watching her just like cut him and cut him and cut him with these comments. And you're watching her and your heart is broken because it's like she's genuinely feeling so dissatisfied.
Yeah.
How else can it act out? But you're then not wanting her to act out,
Right.
and it's just so
Right.
hard.
It's so hard.
It's hard to watch, but that's why the show is so good, because the
Yes.
relationship is so complex, And so what ultimately ends up happening in season 1 is that
Yeah.
Issa does step out on Laurence with the guy Daniel, and he's played by Alan Noel. And listen, very good. Okay, very good, very good. And
Okay.
this is one of those ones where I wish I had my glasses on, so I could use them as a dramatic tool for emphasis and put it at the end of my nose to let you know that I'm leaning in and tell you that he's very good. And
What he
Issa,
does.
because he's very good. And so Issa steps out with this guy who's like her unrequited love from back in the day. Britt, you want to talk about Daniel and like how he gets into the picture and
Yes,
how
absolutely.
that love triangle plays out?
Oh gosh, Daniel, this is, you've learned that Issa is actually crafting this path, which is something that many of us don't like to admit. That I cringe whenever I hear someone say, "Well, things happen." I am a firm believer that things never just happen. There are choices that get us to the place where we are, whether they are good choices or bad choices. But honey, you made a choice, okay? And Issa is starting to, because through this dissatisfaction of what is happening in her relationship, she is beginning to make these questionable choices. And the first questionable choice, she has Daniel, he reaches out to her on her birthday to tell her happy birthday, which in that moment is huge because right now you're having that her boyfriend of 5 years has done nothing. He said nothing. So now, and Daniel is using words like, I miss you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, I'm having someone cater to something that I'm missing. So Issa, in her choices, decides to make sure she makes her way to an event where he has promoted on his page she knows he'll be at. And so she makes her way there. And she pretends like she didn't know he would be there when he walks up to her. He buys her a drink, and we get to see a little bit more of Issa's character. We learn more about her, about that she used to write raps. And we learn also through their interaction that the Issa is a huge part of the reason why Daniel is into music. Daniel is a music producer. And so you're learning that their connection is great and far deeper. You're getting a chance to see Issa with her hair down a little bit, so to speak, and to be a little more fun and a little more out of herself. She is just like, you know what, YOLO, people. I'm about to just live life.
Yeah,
And so
and
it,
Daniel really represents the anti Laurence in many ways,
yes.
because Laurence is someone,
Mm,
he is a bit of a homebody. He is, someone who's very interested in like technology and
yeah.
business. And we see Daniel as someone he's a music producer. His life is out in these, streets at night,
Yes.
and he's successful in a different kind of way, in a way that
Yes.
is more about connecting with people and being very social. And so he's so different from Daniel. He's
So
even, I
different.
mean, from Laurence. He's even different from Laurence in that
He's
Laurence,
shorter.
he's he's shorter. Is the
More chocolate.
yeah,
It's just different.
it's just different. And he also when he first starts to reconnect with Issa, he says, "I'm not interested in a relationship." And so we know Laurence is super interested in a
Super
relationship.
relationship.
There's even a point in season one where he is considering proposing to Issa. Um, and so we watch this Laurence Daniel kind of thing play out because, of course, eventually Issa sleeps with Daniel, you know.
Yeah, she does.
She sleeps with him. It's super great. Okay. And she feels one
Listen,
word, guilty. She feels
it is
awful. As
super
she
great.
should. It's
Yes.
quite great. I think we
And
can all
it's
agree.
immediate. It is
She
immediate guilt.
feels so, as she should. As
Hmm.
she should. I have always
Absolutely.
just said, if you don't want to be with me, break up, world.
That's all.
Okay? Just
That's
be
all.
honest. Nobody needs to lie to nobody, because I'm not going to lie. If I'm over it, I will let you know. Okay,
It's
folks?
too much. It's
It's
too
too much.
much.
Just the lies. And she couldn't hold on to the lies well. She was finally getting to the point where she was, I don't want to say forgiving herself, but learning to cope. And with Molly coaching her, and mind you, Molly is sitting there in the experience of failed dating relationships 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and
Yes.
questioning her ability to even to find connectedness. Molly is
Hmm.
saying, do whatever you need to do. She is saying, don't tell Laurence, end it with Daniel, sweep it under the rug. That's what Issa's trying to do. Daniel will not be swept. Every time he's under the rug, he keeps creeping his ass right back out. Here he is again, creeping out the rug.
How you doing? How you doing? Okay,
Get
okay,
back under,
okay.
get
Get
back
in the
under.
room. Get in the room.
And he's creeping out from under the rug. And he literally ends up in the same place as Laurence. And Laurence figures the whole thing out. The relationship busts apart, as again would
Yes.
be expected under
Yes.
this circumstance, and we start to watch the fallout, and we see Laurence moving on. I think that's an important piece to talk about. Britt, is like Laurence moving on.
Laurence is now in a place that he never pictured.
Yep.
The woman that was considering making his wife, undoubtedly having children with her, has now cheated on her.
Yep.
Now, and this is not coming at a moment where, okay, Laurence, you're the Laurence that we first met in the beginning of the season. You're on the couch. You forgot her birthday. Like this.
You have not shaved. You are
have not shaved.
You're a
You have
scruffadum.
the same sweatshirt on.
Look
You
smelly.
said we'll go
I can't
out.
smell it because you're on the television. But I'll bet you it's not fresh.
You stink.
It's musty. I think the word is musty, sis.
Listen, when you say it, my nose goes.
Yeah, that was a musty, crusty Laurence that we saw at the beginning.
Was a musty.
He was still fine and had very good potential. And
the crust was cute. The crust was cute. Shout out to Jay Ellis. That's who Laurence is. Is Jay Ellis.
Again,
Shout
so
out to
good.
Jay Ellis.
Oh,
we will help you get that crust out your eye.
I'll rub it right out.
Don't even worry about that. Don't worry about that.
But to your point, Britt, he has evolved.
Yes, he has evolved, and he is now. He's heard Issa, and he's like, okay, I know that I'm creating this app. I really want to get this app together, and I'm looking for a job that I believe fits my skills, because he is representing also a class of people who we've been told to go get degrees, but we can't find the positions that are matching the debt and the knowledge that we've gathered over the years in education. He's meeting that brick wall in that way, or that glass ceiling in that way. And while he's still working with recruiters, his recruiter poses to him and said, listen, while you're looking, you may just need to think about an in-between position. And Laurence starts to work for Best Buy, which is across the street from a bank that he goes to all the time to cash his unemployment checks. And the individual that cashes his unemployment checks is Tasha. Tasha is played
by Dominique Perry.
Listen,
she does a great job. She's a strumpet.
She
does a great job. But she's a strumpet.
She is a strumpet in the sense that she's that character that admires everything about Laurence. He's college educated. She tells him, you college educated, you ain't got no kids, you about your business. She's
and in parentheses, that's flirting with somebody else's man. When he has made it known that he's in a committed relationship.
Knowingly.
He has shut her down. She is brazen. Okay. And she keeps who else is creeping up from under the rug? Tasha. Okay.
And I don't even think she's creeping. I feel like she running on top of that rug.
You're right. She didn't care. She don't care about that rug.
Tata's out, sitting up front and center.
Every bit of Ta and Ta.
Listen.
Presented.
Coke bottle, okay? Every piece of clothing hugging.
She's fly, and she has nothing but supportive messaging, which is the only thing anybody has before you get to know somebody. When you don't have a well-rounded view of a person, all you know is the best version.
Greatness.
So of course, like all he's getting from her is like this super positive messaging. And so as soon as everything blows up with Issa, he finds himself.
Where does he go?
He's with Tasha. And by the end of the season 1, Laurence has not only moved out, he has started exploring casual sex with Tasha. And we see he has now gotten
hold on now. Let's
a better job.
Let's pause. That was I don't know about casual. Listen, that was some frustration sex.
You're right.
That was I'm mad at the world. That was my girlfriend cheated on me. So I'm getting back at her.
Yeah.
We are done.
Yeah.
let me tell you something. And I've watched some of the videos because I believe Debbie Allen directed that episode. If I'm not mistaken, I will go back. I will fact check myself in our next episode. But I believe Debbie Allen, and she was like, "Listen, you got to don't act, okay? You got to really, and you can see in this moment while you're looking at it, and you're like, okay, Laurence, but you know the emotion behind what is happening for him. And for Tasha, she's finally getting the good man. I'm getting the college educated. I'm getting the future entrepreneur. I'm getting the man with no kids. That's all the concern is. And they definitely have sexual chemistry, that they're both attracted to each other. But absolutely getting into that part of their relationship, this new relationship. Something I do want to point out as we're talking about the end is that there is a couch that they have. And it's with them in the beginning, and they've had it for years, and the couch is old now. And so they bring in this new couch, and the old couch is outside now waiting to be thrown away. And this couch represents more than we think. It's the end of something. And so while the two of them are trying to get into a better place, Issa's hiding her secret. He is getting a job. He's at Best Buy, but finally gets a better job with a tech company, finally on his track and these different things. And then bam, all the newness that's happening is now being thrown out the window. And you find Issa at the end of the show, of the end of the season, crying on Molly's lap on this old couch outside, almost as if to say, can I salvage something? Can I get this back? This couch has been my life. This couch has been with me for years. Laurence has been with me for years. And now like this couch is out here on the side, my relationship is gone. My relationship is now trash as well. My relationship is out here, and she's mourning the ending of something that has been such a large part of her. Which as we talk about that and Molly consoling her, I think will bring us into some other individuals who are a part of her life, that they represent friends that you tell them some things, but you don't tell them everything. So Janai, please get into Kelly and Tiffany and just what they look like.
Yeah, as we're watching.
Oh, and anything you need to, of course, add to the end of Laurence and Issa.
I think you hit it, and as Issa has been going through these challenges with Laurence and with Danielle, the main person, her ride or die girl, is Molly, and that's who she is like really in it with. These other girlfriends, Brittany talked about, Kelly, played by Natasha Rothwell, and Tiffany, played by Amanda Sills. They kind of round out the girlfriends group, and so this is the group you travel with, these are your girlfriends, connections from school and great memories, professional fun, that kind of thing.
And we did say.
Yeah, and they have these wonderful little inside jokes, which again, it's part of what makes the show so good, because every single bit of what makes relationship real is in this show. These friendships, they are well-rounded, they are deep, they're well-written and well portrayed. And Kelly, she is a character that is single.
My spirit animal.
She's single. She is hilarious, professionally successful. Also, on the dating scene at this point, she's in. We meet her in a, what I would kind of say like she's in a yearning period. I think is what we would say for her. And then Tiffany.
That's the best way to put that.
I think that's a good summary. And then Tiffany is like in a completely different place. She is married, and her husband like hang out together. So he's like with the crew by association, so that's how this friend group, that's where this friend group is. We see that, there are varying levels of connectedness between Issa and all of these characters. But at the end of the day, each one of them has planted something into her soul, about either professional decisions that she made, romantic decisions that she made.
Yeah.
And we get to watch, that feedback get integrated into the decisions that she makes. So by the end of season 1, Kelly is still yearning. Tiffany, is happily married,
Yes.
as far as we can see. And I have to always put
Yes.
that, you never know. You never know.
You never know.
People who appear happily single are may or may not be. People who appear happily married may or may not be. We see Kelly appearing relatively happy in her singlehood, and Tiffany relatively happy in her marriage. And that's where those relationships are at the end of season 1. They are also, watching the end of the relationship between Issa and Laurence. And whether they say it explicitly or not, it is felt deeply, because Issa and Lawrence's relationship, you can tell, is that kind of relationship that, is that the people have relied on. It's been the steady thing. It's been the drumbeat. And so at the end of season 1, we are wondering, we have a ton of questions in our mind. We watched Issa flailing professionally. Now she seems like she's getting it together professionally, but now romantically, Laurence is gone. She had squished Daniel back up under the rug. Is he going to be up under the rug still in season 2? Who knows? Is Laurence coming back? Does he have forgiveness in his heart? Who knows? Will Molly be able to make a connection with any of the men that she's met in season 1, in particular, the one we all wanted her to be with, Jared? Is that going to happen? They seem to have a genuine connect. It looks like it might be picking up. Let's see what could happen.
But before you move from Molly, I do want to say that Molly did reconnect with an old college friend, and that old college friend did make mention of mental health. That is something I believe Insecure is very big on, is encouraging the Black community to look into mental health. This helps you see throughout the season, Issa and Molly are definitely two friends that will tell each other off, and in an hour, they're the best of friends as if nothing happened.
Right.
And their forgiveness is like,
That's real.
let me bring a bag of Cheetos and some dipping sauce, and we're good to go.
That's real.
This is the type of relationship that they have. But when Molly mentions to Issa about how their old college friend, how she started going to a therapist and got some things together and let some things go, Issa recommends that to Molly. And to that, Molly is faced with, at that moment, with some demons to say, I don't need any mental health. And this completely changes her mood to the point where those two get in a very huge argument to say, now Issa is in a hard place in her life. She's lost her boyfriend after cheating on him. And now he's moved out of the house. He won't talk to her. She has to go stalk him at his job. Now she had a hard conversation with her best friend, the only one that she could talk to about all these things that are going on. She's alone. She's alone right now. But at the end, you see why, you may not have 17 best friends. No one needs that. But that one ride or die that can get you through, it shows their relationship. So I just wanted to make sure that we definitely put that in about Molly's character.
I'm
how
happy
she is starting to explore this world of having a therapist and possibly speaking to one.
And I'm so happy you mentioned that, sis. It's another way that this show is just so real. I think that there are a couple of things that, some people of color of our generation discovered in their 20s and 30s. And I think one of those things is like going on vacation for real. You know, another one of those things is like
it's not just family reunion.
It is not. Another thing is like, again, it's what we talked about, that
Brunch.
full of authenticity, right? Brunch. But then it's also like, yeah, it's okay to get mental health support, you know, do it. So I'm so happy you raised that, sis. And just in terms of like buttoning up season 1,
yes,
it is important to just call out that there were a couple of characters, or actors, I should say, and characters that came back from, or I would say that were carried into the show Insecure from Awkward Black Girl, Issa Rae's YouTube show. One that we all love is that neighbor in her building who is in a gang, and he is just he is such a colorful delight every time you see him, because he is randomly hilarious. She brought back, there was an actress named Sujata Day that played her best friend in Awkward Black Girl, but actually plays a mean girl coworker now in the show Insecure.
Yes, she does.
And then there was a coworker, Frida, that was an Awkward Black Girl. She's played by Lisa Joyce, and she's in this show too. And she plays the same thing, just a coworker, you know, trying to relate, best of intentions, wanting to help, young people of color, and just working through her whiteness.
Just can't, you can't get upset with her, because she's like, she just wants to so bad to get it, and she just wants to do right. And you're like, we want you to win, girl.
We do, because she is working on that implicit bias. She's working on it. So I think we've hit the main points. And sis, are there any other questions that you would, just in terms of articulating the open questions at the end of season 1, things we're hoping to see resolved or answered in season 2?
That is a great way to end our episode, Genia, because there are questions at the end of season 1. You know, you want to learn more about Tiffany and her husband. Why do you all seem so perfect? What's really going on? You do wonder about, you are looking forward to seeing more about Kelly and her shenanigans, and
so funny,
and how
she's a good actress.
Code switches in a different way. Her code switch is a little different than everyone else's, and just how she may have an alcohol problem. She may smoke weed a little too much. You know, just her character, wanting to see more from that. Will Issa be able to bounce back? It's going home with high hopes and then seeing the closet completely empty of his clothes except for his Best Buy shirt. Basically telling her, this is where I left off with you. Just what will that look like? How will her and Molly's friendship go forward in this moment as they're both discovering themselves? And now Issa being single, when that was a point of tension for the two of them at some point. So, what do those things look like? It does make you really just, wait, it's over? It's only 8 episodes?
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. This was like the best binge. The best. Like, this was so great. Just watching all 8 of those episodes. And they had the best naming conventions for the episodes. Every episode was like one word and then as FECK. So it would be like real as FECK.
AF.
AF. Real AF. Guilty.
That's what the young people say.
Thank you. I knew that. I'm hip and cool, sis. I knew that.
Yes. Listen, with my hippie headband.
Shady AF, thirsty AF, messy AF, racist AF. The show is just a delight. And my favorite thing is to talk about what I think shows should do differently, because I think of myself as someone who is the best at critiquing television shows, and that they should all take my
good at
it. But guess what? This show is damn near perfect. I wouldn't change anything. I just love it. I can't wait to now watch season 2.
Yes.
So.
And one thing we can't leave without saying is the soundtrack.
Oh,
Issa
so good.
Obviously loves music, and with her channel, her Issa Rae YouTube channel, she always had something about music, and so it would make all of us go crazy if she had not had an amazing soundtrack. Season 1 soundtrack is just and it's nods to California.
Yeah.
So for those of us that have grown up on the East Coast, we don't really know what that life is like and what it was like growing up in Cali. I love that so much about the episode.
Oh, we don't have time to kind of talk through some of those songs, but
yes,
so good. So good. Oh,
so.
yeah. Worth a Google to just Insecure season 1 soundtrack. Look it up.
Yes.
It was good.
Yes. So I appreciate all of you for coming to our Insecure season 1 review / recap. I thank you so much, sis, for going on this journey with me, trying to make short episodes, but to talk about something so
hard
huge,
to do it quickly.
But I love you. We love all of you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe to our channels. Genia, please tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at the only Genia Wright.
Excellent. And you can find me at B Wright Breeze, BWRIGHT Breeze. And that is on all social media platforms. That's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. You can find me on TikTok, also on there. That has become a full circle for someone in my age range. So
yeah, but, TikTok. Yeah.
So again, we do appreciate you guys for taking this time to be with us.
So fun. Thank you for watching.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.